My name is Emily Penelope and I usually make weekly vlogs, but this week I wanted to do something different. This is something that I'm quite passionate about, and it's something that I'm slowly incorporating into my life, and that is trying to shop a little bit more local, a little bit more sustainably, and definitely with more thought. I just wanted to come to you today and just talk to you a little bit about what I'm doing and how I'm trying to do my bit to have a little bit less impact on the world. I've got some notes, so I apologize for reading off notes. I also have a cold drink here because talking is thirsty work. My aim with this video is to help you make better, more informed choices when you shop for your wardrobe. I have a few disclaimers. Obviously, I understand that it is very difficult to be 100% sustainable with fashion. Even washing your clothes in the wash machine releases like little micro filaments into the water. There is one thing you can do with that, and that is get a bag called a guppy friend, and you put all your clothes in it, chuck it in the wash, and that collects all those little microfibers. I'll link that in the description below. Obviously, not everything I own is made in New Zealand. There's a lot of global sustainable brands that I love, and also fast fashion brands that I occasionally do purchase from as well, because affordability is a big part of creating a wardrobe. I'm a student, so obviously not all of my clothes are sustainable. I just have a few behind me that I've chosen from my wardrobe that are some of my favorite pieces that are sustainable. I understand that there's always more I can do, you know, but it's a process, and there's lots that goes into building a wardrobe, especially a sustainable one. So just bear in mind, you know, you might be a lot more sustainable than I am. You might be further along your sustainability journey than I am. Another disclaimer, I'm not a vegan. I don't live a vegan lifestyle. And if I were to adopt that lifestyle, I would need to do more research, especially with the vegan alternative products, so like leather alternatives. Some brands use plastic and non-biodegradable fibers, which are actually worse for the environment than a long-lasting piece of leather. So you might ask, why is this girl making a random video about sustainable fashion? You know, I'm not in fashion. I wouldn't even consider myself super fashionable, to be honest, but I do love clothes and I love curating my wardrobe, and I've done a lot of research, and from my research I understand that there's a big problem with fast fashion. They overproduce, and that contributes to carbon emissions. I'm gonna link a video below about how clothing brands actually burn a lot of the excess clothes, which is to me wild. The industry is exploitative of people, and if an item is super cheap, somewhere along the line, people aren't being treated ethically. And most fast fashion is a pollutant to the environment, and they're damaging to our finite resources. So something to definitely think about in sustainable clothes is how they're made. The way the materials are processed is really important. Dyes, water usage, you know, what's toxic to the environment. I want to just tell you a little bit about my values before we jump into the brands and the clothes I like. And for this video, one of my most important values is probably to be a New Zealand brand or made in New Zealand. I understand that not all of these companies produce everything in New Zealand, because our industry is very small and is actually shrinking. But there is one brand that I will talk about later on, Ruby. They're actually currently looking to expand the industry a little bit and are looking to train some people in garment manufacturing. So I think that closes at the end of May, but I'll put it up here, maybe it's up here, somewhere here. I'm just going to put a picture, and you can go to the Ruby website and just look up if you're interested in that, how to apply. I'm trying to stay away from fast fashion. That's another one of my values, and I want to minimize my carbon footprint when it comes to clothing. The reason I'm trying to stay away from fast fashion is because the majority of people who make clothes in the global fast fashion industry live in poverty, and 80% of these people are women. So my future goals include to buy more slow fashion, buy secondhand, and to organise more things like clothing swaps and giveaways with my friends, and to donate to thrift shops. My values include saving up for key pieces rather than just buying multiple cheap ones. I want to buy from companies who are happy to share their journey to sustainability, that are transparent and have integrity. And I want to shop more sustainable fabrics. So I'm just going to get my notes here because I don't know this off the top of my head, but different fabrics and innovative fabrics such as tree-based fabrics, rayon, lyocell, tencel, modal, bamboo, eco-vero viscose, recycled nylon and recycled polyester are great. I'm going to put in the links below some certifications that different factories and manufacturers can get for their garments, so you can look for those certifications when buying clothes to know that the product you're buying isn't harmful to the environment and is sustainable. And some of these certifications are also around fair trade, equity in the workplace, fair pay, things like that. So I'm not going to talk about the certifications in this video, but I will link some of the important ones below, and so you can look for those when you're shopping. Natural fibers such as linen, organic cotton, wool, piece silk, not normal silk, piece silk, cashmere and hemp are really good. And then the less sustainable fabrics include many petroleum-based fabrics such as polyester, elastane, polyamide, polyurethane, nylon and acrylic, conventional cotton. And I've included one link in my description to a sustainable fabric guide, but there are so many on the internet, and if you're interested in fabrics, I highly recommend getting out there and having a read. You might be asking, okay, that's all well and good. How do I be sustainable? How can I do it? How can I get better? So I think the first thing you can do is to shop your own wardrobe. Think about how you style things. Can you style them in a different way? Can you create looks from your existing clothing? Can you alter or change an item? i.e. you could like crop an old sweater or a t-shirt. You could do some tie-dye with environmentally safe dye. The next thing you could consider is renting clothes. So I just have a list here that I'm just going to read out. So in New Zealand we have Designer Wardrobe, Oh Rent Me, The Borrowed Collective, Lend the Label, Love Me, Rent Me, Dress Hire, Treasure Box, All the Dresses, and Borrow the Brands. There are more, I'm sure, so sorry if I didn't list them all, but the ones that I've talked about will be linked in the description. And then if you go on Instagram and look up hashtags, you can find really small companies, maybe just 1 or 2 women who are working together to rent out their own personal wardrobe. I think there's a girl in my med school cohort who's doing that at the moment, which is a really good idea if you want a side hustle and if you love fashion and you want to help the sustainable movement. So another thing you can do is organise clothes swaps or sales with friends. And obviously this is hard, like if your friends are all different sizes, but I find with a lot of my friends, even though we're of different sizes, we quite often fit into each other's clothes. Like some might prefer more baggy clothes, some might want more fitted clothes. There's always going to be bits and pieces from your friends' wardrobes that you'll fit. And another thing I want to mention is to buy secondhand. So there are many ways to buy secondhand, from going in person to op shops. I live in an area with quite a few op shops. I'm just going to insert some clips here. What's up guys? I thought I'd just take you on a quick walk down K Road with me, Karangahape Road. It's my local area for thrift shopping. There's so many great things here. I thought I'd just show you a few. So these are some of the op shops that I can in walking distance of me. They're amazing, they're great companies to support. They often have sales, and the clothes you find in there are often quite quirky and amazing. And a lot of these shops give to charity, which is also a great cause. So when you're buying your clothes, you know that your money's going to a good place. There are also secondhand shops that will resell your clothes, so you will get some of the profit, which is a great way to create a little bit of a side hustle if you need some money. That's definitely something to consider. But yeah, these are some of the brands close by to where I live. Another way to shop secondhand is to look on Facebook pages. There's always Facebook pages for buying and selling clothes. We have a page in New Zealand called Designer Wardrobe, and I also think there's one called Walk-in Wardrobe. There's probably other ones. And then you could look at Facebook Marketplace or places like eBay, things like that. And then you can look at apps. So there's apps such as Poshmark and Depop, and I know some of these aren't in New Zealand. I think Poshmark might be America only, but Depop's amazing. I've got some really cool pieces from Depop. It's a global international app, and it's kind of like Instagram for selling your clothes. The next way you could be more sustainable in your shopping is to buy locally, or if buying globally, make sure that the brands are transparent and follow values that you believe in. There's a New Zealand industry collective called Mindful Fashion, and that aims to strengthen our local fashion and textile industry by promoting long-term sustainable growth through responsible business practice and industry investment. So many of the brands I'm going to mention in this video are actually a part of this collective, and you can have a look for yourself and see if there's brands that you like that might be a part of this collective, or even discover new brands, which is really cool. You can reduce consumption and actually take better care of your clothes. That is another way that you can be more sustainable. So plan on having your clothes for a long time, plan on wearing them a lot. You know, when you pick up an item of clothing, think, am I going to wear this more than once? Buy more key pieces rather than trending pieces. Obviously, like, I love trending pieces as well. I do buy into trends, which I know is a little bit of a problem. It's something that I'm aware of and I'm working on, but genuinely I do love some of the trends, but I definitely do focus on clothes that are key pieces that I can wear season in, season out. No matter what year it is, it's still going to look good. If you do shop for key pieces, you're going to find that they're going to mix and match with clothes from other seasons in your wardrobe, other years, and you can build a really multifunctional wardrobe this way. Another way to be sustainable is to think of price per wear and save up for more expensive clothes that are more sustainable, knowing that you're going to get more use out of them. Greenpeace estimates that 20% of clothing made won't even be worn once. It'll be sent to the trash with the tag still on. And you can look at this annual ethical fashion guide. I'm just going to put this up here. Tear Fund release an ethical fashion guide each year where you can look at the brands and look at their score and know more about their practices. And then this way you can be more knowledgeable about which brands you should shop for. There's even some like fast fashion brands on here with quite good scores, so knowing which fast fashion brands are more ethical might really just help you kickstart your journey into creating a wardrobe that's better for the planet. So just like I said before we launch into talking about all the brands, all the clothes, you should have a read in the description about some of the certification that these companies have within their manufacturing products. I don't want to explain it and make this video super long, but if you hear an acronym or a certification that you're unsure about, it'll most likely be linked in the description where you can find out more. I need a drink. So let's launch into the brands I love that are sustainable, that I try and save my money up for, that I shop for, that I love, that all these clothes behind me come from one of these brands I'm about to mention. So in no particular order, the first brand I want to talk about is Marle. So Marle is an NZ brand, and it's known for its amazing knitwear. I've just got one of their cashmere knits hanging up here. They have an honest commitment to sustainability and use some of these following business initiatives. So they use exclusively natural fibres, they use recycled fibres, they use undyed linen. Their knitwear factory is Gold Wrap certified. Their knitwear and the majority of their silk is Ecotech certified. And they use compostable packaging. So those are some small things which are really cool. All of Marle's items are beautiful. And the items have something that's usually a little bit different to make them stand out from the fast fashion. They have beautiful fabrics which you often can't find in mainstream fashion. One example of a piece of clothing, it's not hanging on the rack behind me, but it's in my wardrobe, is a shirt made of silk and linen, and it's just this springy, stunningly soft but rough fabric, and I can't even explain it. Like, you need to feel it for yourself. But they have some beautiful fabrics, beautiful pieces, and I love their clothes. Next up, we've got Maggie Marilyn. I personally don't own anything by Maggie Marilyn, but it's a brand that I love. I know that they're really sustainable, and Maggie Marilyn, the designer, she often comes on Instagram Live and answers questions, and she's really open and honest about the brand. They are currently having a sale. I don't know if I videoed it, but if I did, I'll put it here. They never have a sale. So if you are thinking about starting to splash out and you want to start with an incredible brand, maybe check out Maggie Marilyn's sale. There's some really cool stuff there. So as a brand, they champion transparency. They empower all people in the supply chain and ensure the health of our beautiful planet is at the forefront of every decision they make. And they use biodegradable wholesale packaging, and in 2019 they released their steadfast sustainability strategy in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Anyone who knows me knows this next brand is one of my all-time favorites, and that is Moochi. They have many different collections and have a sustainable and made in New Zealand collection called their Faithfuls. I'm actually wearing a shirt from their Faithfuls line today, and I think I've got a shirt hanging up here from their Faithfuls line. This happens to be my favourite collection from them, not just because it's made in New Zealand and of the sustainability factor, but it's like their key pieces. They're really wearable, everyday pieces, which are really great to invest in. So they work with a select number of supply partners across Auckland, Northern India, and Guangdong. Sorry, I cannot pronounce this. Guangdong province in China, and they are committed to producing their garments only in environments that meet international labour standards as outlined by the ILO. Okay, the next brand, Holy Grail brand, Juliette Hogan. I love Juliette Hogan. It is an incredible brand run by a group of incredible women. The clothes are to die for, and the seasons are designed so that clothes from current seasons are able to coordinate with previous seasons, and they just lock in beautifully. The colours are amazing. The custom prints that are made and designed in-house are to die for. That's what they're known for. Their clothes are all very cohesive and very beautiful. The team are based in Morningside in Auckland, where 4 collections are produced there each year. Where possible, all the materials are produced in New Zealand, and they work very closely with local fabric suppliers, cutters and makers. Sorry, the sun is like coming in and out. I've got the curtain down, but it's like so bright. Juliette Hogan are very open and transparent about their global supply. Their eyewear is made in Japan, their jeans are made in China from Japanese denim, and their cashmere and merino pieces are made both here in New Zealand and at an offshore family-run factory in China. They also have Ecotech certified silk. So Juliette Hogan is an extremely mindful brand, and each piece really is an investment. They are expensive, but it's 100% worth it, and if you look after the clothes will look after you. Oh my gosh, I just love talking about these brands because they're literally my favorite brands, and talking about them makes me so happy. 27 Names. So 27 Names has been one of my favorite brands for a really long time. The clothes they make and the way they cut and fit their clothes just seem to fit me really well. They have beautiful standout prints, so quite different to like Juliette Hogan, and stunning wardrobe staples. I have a few of their just like plain t-shirts and things, and they are so great. I love their coats as well. So the brand's values lie in a commitment to sustainability, ethical production, and supporting local industry. And on each garments page, this is what's incredible. You can literally find out where the item was cut, where it was made, where each sort of fabric comes from, even things down to the buttons, the zippers, whatever. You want to know about that piece of clothing, they've got it there on each garment page. A lot of thought has been put into this website to give you as the consumer the power and the knowledge to know that what decisions you're making are going to be good decisions. It's proudly made in New Zealand, and they use all of Oecotech certified fabrics, and they work with All Is For All. So All Is For All is a website helping with accessibility. The next brand, it's Kowtow. I'm not sure how to say that, I'm so sorry, Kowtow. They have a whole sustainability and ethics section on their website, as do most of these brands I'm talking about. They are extremely transparent. They're up there with some of the most transparent brands I know. They create beautiful staples and basics. So I think I've got just a basic grey shirt here hanging up from them, because their staples are reasonably priced for the quality and the sustainability of the item, and they just fit well and they're stunning. Their collections are made from organic, renewable, biodegradable and regenerated fibres. They are entirely committed to fair trade production, and they design with longevity in mind. Like, I think this, they call them building blocks, they're basics, but I think this grey shirt here I've probably had for about 6 years, and I'm sure they make a similar one. It's just amazing. I don't want to go into all of the certifications that Kowtow manufacturing has, but there's a lot, and some of them will be linked below. You can read way more in depth about Kowtow and their sustainability and their ethics on their website. Even I was just, when I was doing the research for this video, I was just like, what? How are they so sustainable? Kowtow also works with All Is For All. Obviously, it's still expensive compared to fast fashion. I mean, most of these brands are, and it is still quite tricky to find cheap clothes and that are sustainable and are a good price. The next company is Lonely Label. A lot of people know it as Lonely Lingerie. This is a company that is most well known for their beautiful lingerie, as well as swimwear, and they have capsule clothing collections. I personally love their swimwear. Most of my swimwear is from Lonely. It is just beautiful, it's well made, and I love it. And my friends that come over and we have a spontaneous trip to the beach and they're like, oh my god, can I borrow a swimsuit? Always gravitate towards the Lonely ones. In 2017, they gained accreditation from Child Labour Free, an external organisation which works to detect risks of child labour and other labour infringements in various layers of the supply chain. So the CLF principles go beyond minimum legal requirements, ensuring that fair and safe standards are across all areas, including child labour, working hours, wages and benefits, labour practices, health and safety, hygiene and waste management, and environmental impact. And Lonely are very transparent and open to discussion. They're happy to talk to you about their processes. They're happy to inform you, and if you want to know more, they're happy to find that information for you, which I think is amazing. As a side note, I love the inclusivity of their models. They use models from all different backgrounds and ethnicities, all different ages, all different sizes. They have collaborations with some like beautiful models, and it's so real, you know, like if you're looking for something that is real, Lonely is it. I just thought I'd have to mention the brand Nisa while we're here talking about undergarments. They're based in Wellington, and they employ women from refugee backgrounds in their studio. I've actually ordered some of their pieces, but they haven't arrived yet, but I'm really looking forward to them arriving in the mail. For this team, the job is about so much more than a paycheck. It's about making friends, practicing English, and feeling like a valued member of a team. So their ethos is incredible, and their reason, I guess, for building undergarments is that clothes you can wear over and over again, but you always were going to need fresh undergarments each day. They use GOTS certified cotton. I've got about GOTS below. A lot of these companies use GOTS certified cotton. And you can visit their workroom in Wellington and actually watch the production process, which is something I think is really special. I think that to be able to see your clothes being made brings a whole new layer to the understanding of like knowing where your clothing came from. Nisa also works with All Is For All. The next brand I want to talk about is Paris, Georgia. Paris, Georgia is a relatively new brand, but they've made a massive impact on the market already, and I personally don't own anything from them just because of the price. It's hella expensive, okay? Like up there with expensive. But that doesn't mean I don't browse their website and their Instagram and dream of owning pieces from Paris, Georgia. They are very honest and transparent about their processes, and they acknowledge that they aren't perfect. You know, they're still a new company, but they're working as best as they can to get there. They endeavour to have all of their pieces made in New Zealand, which I think is great, and with the exception of their knitwear, which is made in Nepal and China and accounts for about 5% of their output. They have cultivated a lineup of local pattern makers and seamstresses to bring the vast majority of Paris, Georgia to life right here in New Zealand. And they design their pieces to be timeless and to follow a less is more approach. And I think whenever we look for clothes, we should be looking for timeless pieces, knowing that in 5 years, you know, if it's still hanging in your wardrobe, like this great Kowtow basic, if it's still hanging in your wardrobe in 5 years and you're still wearing it, you're onto a winner. The next brand I want to talk about is Kate Sylvester. So Kate Sylvester helped start the Mindful Fashion Collective. They have a reloved section on their website. I'm just gonna like put it here, where you can buy pre-loved Kate Sylvester items, or you can sell your old Kate Sylvester items on there as well. So that is an amazing initiative from a brand where people can find products from seasons past that they maybe couldn't get their hands on, or just to shop a little bit more sustainably. Kate Sylvester has a whole section of their website dedicated to educating you about their social responsibility. So they endeavour to take a responsible and ethical approach to design, and they create beautiful garments that are made to last a lifetime. They have created a supply chain that respects the environment, which is really important to me, and they take care of the people within the community, which is also an amazing ethic to have. I personally love Kate Sylvester for their embroidered prints. Another brand which I do really like, some of the collections are hit and miss for me in terms of do I enjoy the product, would I wear it, is Ruby. So Ruby is a great brand in general. It is a very well loved New Zealand brand. It's young and energetic, and it has prints and styles that are loved by everyone season after season. I don't always find something I love every season, but lately I have been, and it's Some of their clothes are amazing, and something that I love about Ruby, which not many other brands do, or any if I know, is that if it's not in your size, let's say I wanted a 16 and it only goes up to a 14, they would make me a size 16, or maybe if I wanted an 18, you know, if you're really small and you want a size 4 but it starts in a 6, they will make that piece of clothing for you at no extra cost, which blows my mind, that you know when you walk into Ruby that there will be something for you. Maybe not today, but they will make it for you and you will have a piece that you love. They also have some amazing sustainable values. Their packaging is mostly reusable or recyclable, and it's part of a circular recycling process. And they sell those guppy bags I was talking about before in store. So if you're looking to get a guppy bag to wash your clothes in, I highly, highly recommend it. I'm going to get one. I don't have one yet, but now I know that Ruby sells them, I will definitely be going there and purchasing a guppy bag. Ruby hosts repair events where you can bring your damaged Ruby clothes to be mended by their in-house machinist. And Ruby is a brand I was talking about, which is currently looking to train up more people in this machining, pattern making, cutting industry, in the garment manufacturing industry. So hit them up, apply if that's something you're interested in. If you're really into sewing, cutting, pattern making, definitely check that out. They would be an amazing brand to work with. The rest of the brands I'm going to talk about are mostly accessories brands, and I just want to say I'm not going to talk about shoe brands in this video because I could do a whole video on shoe brands. I love shoes. If you want a shoe video, hit me up, but we're just doing stuff that hangs up today pretty much, and jewelry. So another brand I love is Deadly Ponies. Anyone who knows me knows I froth anything Deadly Ponies. I've got one of their bags hanging up here. This bag I use as my uni bag. It's structured, it's beautiful. Anyways, we'll get into that. They have a commitment to beautifully soft, ethically sourced leathers, and their popular farm deer leather is sourced from the South Island of New Zealand and developed in tanneries that share in their vision and have committed to upholding their ethical standards. All their leathers they use are either as a result of natural casualties or as a byproduct of meat production, so they aren't breeding animals just for the sake of leather. They prioritise working with tanneries that are certified members of the Leather Working Group, the LWG, and achieve the gold standard in leather production. They pride themselves on the quality of their products. They're incredible, and they operate under a business model built on corporate responsibility, which I think is incredible. They design their bags for longevity and circularity. So I have bags that I purchased many years ago that I still use today and are still amazing everyday pieces. So another accessories brand that I don't currently own but have been coveting for so long is Yume. Yume is a Wellington-based leather goods brand, and they have some amazing ethics within their brand. So first off, they have a buyback scheme where you can send your old Yume bags back and you can get credit towards a new one. They are committed to responsible consumption and cultivating sustainable buying habits within their community. So that's a really good way, you know, if you have a bag and you're thinking, that bag looks great for now, it's a trendy bag for now, for maybe the next couple of years, but neon yellow, will I want a neon yellow bag in a few years' time? You know, maybe you won't, but Yume is there to take that bag back and refurbish it and find a home for it somewhere where it will be loved. So that's a great way to know that even if you might not love something in the future, at least you know you're purchasing it with the intent of it going to be a piece that's utilised for years to come. They source their leather from New Zealand, and as the same as Deadly Ponies, they only use leather which would otherwise have been waste. They have a film on their website called Land to Luxury. I'll link it below, where you can read and watch about every step of their production. They are an extremely transparent brand, and two of their core values are integrity and transparency, which I just think is amazing. So their bags are made in Hong Kong, so they're not made in New Zealand, they're made in Hong Kong in a family-run factory that has been in operation for 50 years. So This factory has the highest level of craftsmanship and social responsibility. I just want to talk about a couple of jewellery brands that I love, and the first one is Zoe & Morgan. They use top quality recycled materials, manage fairness in the working areas, and practice really careful waste management. They produce their jewellery for life. So they aim to create pieces which you can use and wear forever, which I think is amazing. I love their jewellery. Their precious metals and gem suppliers are certified or registered under LBMA or GIA, and they offer a bespoke service where you can actually bring in old jewellery and have it melted down and created into something new, which I think is like such a cool idea. I mean, I love all the jewellery I currently own now, but maybe in the future when I don't love it as much or something like that, I can take it in and get a bespoke Zoe & Morgan piece made out of my old jewellery, which is incredible. So Meadowlark is another jewellery brand that I absolutely love. The aim also is to create everlasting jewellery, both in style and in quality. They encourage mindful consumption with their consumers, and their jewellery, I guess by its very nature, is a circular product, as is many other jewellery brands. It can be repaired, recycled, and made into new pieces. And all their metal scrap from their workroom is recycled back into the system. They don't really have any metal waste, which I think is really cool. They produce most of their jewellery to order so that they don't create any excess. Their focus is on making sure the materials they use meet their standards of social and environmental responsibility. So they only use responsibly sourced and fully traceable material in their jewellery. This year they're actually formalising their principles for transparency and responsible sourcing into their supplier contracts, and they aim to extend that into their supply chain. And you can read more about this on your website. They have an interesting thing about finding responsibly sourced sapphires and how crazy the cost is to actually get responsibly sourced gems. They and many other brands I've mentioned today use Forest Stewardship Council certified sustainably grown papers in all their lookbooks, posters, boxes and tissue paper. And then we've made it, guys. The last thing I wanted to talk about is the Well-Made Clothes shop. So if you are really lost and don't know where to start, and if you don't even know what values are important to you yet in creating a sustainable wardrobe, Well-Made Clothes shop may be the place to start. So they've got 8 values that you can read about on their website. They are handcrafted, sustainable, local, minimal waste, gender equality, fair, vegan and transparent. So these are the 8 values that their stock needs to cover. Everything that's on their website will be made with at least one of these values in mind. So if you choose a value that you like, for example, fair or vegan, you know, if you're a vegan and you don't want to have any sort of animal products or animal use in your product manufacturing, then Well-Made could be the place to start, because you can shop by value. So you can choose the value and all the clothes that come up are going to encompass that value, which is incredible. And a lot of brands on the website encompass multiple values, so that can be great. I just want to say it can be tough searching the internet for clothing and accessory brands which fit your idea of what is ethical. Everyone has a different idea of what ethical is to them, and I've definitely had problems finding information out about supply chains and things on fashion websites. So this store is great because they stock multiple brands with multiple different values, and the information is right there for you to read. Another thing I want to say is, if you are looking to shop sustainably and you don't know where to start and you have a brand that you love, just contact them. Don't hesitate to contact them. I'm sure they'll answer your questions. Being sustainable is a really important part of the fashion industry today, and a lot of brands are really working towards being more sustainable, including some of the fast fashion brands. Definitely don't give up if you can't find the information online. If you guys liked this video and you wished I had included more brands and more options and shoes and more jewellery and things like that, let me know. I have a whole list here of the global brands that I love. So many, you know, Australian brands, American brands, European brands. I have a whole list there of brands that I love. But I just wanted to keep this video about New Zealand brands. I want to say thank you so much for watching. If you got to the end of this video, I hope you learned something. I hope it made you think about what sustainable means to you, what ethical means to you, and how you can incorporate that into your wardrobe going forwards. I hope I also inspired you to look at different brands you maybe haven't heard of, and to look at clothes to diversify your wardrobe. I really enjoyed doing the research on the brands that I already loved, and it made me so happy to like curate my little industrial rack here.